Hello, BuzzTv people. Welcome. Today, we are exposing a horrifying development where a sitting Nigerian senator was captured on video openly inciting his supporters to commit political murder, sparking national outrage. We examined SDP Presidential candidate Adewole Adebayo's fiery interview on Arise News, demanding immediate personal accountability and systemic electoral reforms. Let's play the tape. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Senator representing Osun East Senatorial District, Francis Fadahunsi, has been called out by various stakeholders over his comment at an All Progressives Congress rally in Ilesha, where the senator was allegedly heard urging his supporters to kill members of the rival Accord Party. The senator's order drew the attention of the Osun State Police Command headquarters in Osogbo, which invited him for questioning over the alleged inciting comments. In his defense, Senator Fadahunsi has denied directing his supporters to kill members of the Accord Party and their family members. He said that his reference to killing Accord members was political language, meaning that his supporters should defeat the party with their votes rather than attack anyone physically. Joining us on this show to discuss the order by Senator Fadahunsi to his supporters is Adebayo Adewole, presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. He will also comment on the display of presidential candidates' credentials by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Mr. Adebayo Adewole, thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. Adewole is coming. That's your campaign slogan. Now, Adewole is here at Arise News Morning Show. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, the rest of the team. And may God bless Nigeria.
Well, very quickly, we started the introduction with Senator Fadahunsi, who said asking people members of his party to kill Accord Party members is political language. Well, what I remember is that there was an essay, famous one, that we use in teaching, writing, and all of that. The Politics of Language by George Orwell. The summary of all of that is George Orwell, a writer, advising people that when you want to say something, just say it in the way it is. Don't use ambiguous language. Don't come later and say I was quoted out of a context. Well, I don't know how much education Senator Fadahunsi has been able to have for him to say he was misinterpreted. Kill means kill. So what do you think of that? And I said earlier on that he's not alone. There's also Francis Eniade, who goes by the title of an honorable candidate of the APC. And then Wale Adedoyin, who has also been going around threatening people. Now the police say they are investigating Fadahunsi. How about these other two persons that have been fingered? What do you think about this violent political language? Is it just politics or is something more serious? And do you think that other persons who have promoted violence in this Oshun election should be called to order and sanctioned beyond the police just saying we have invited, we have had a meeting? What do you think?
Well, what I think on a broader scale is that, one, I condemn the statement accredited to the senator, and I condemn the general use of violence, and violence in public life includes violence language. Because an individual committing an act of violence is bad on its own and is against the law. By promoting violence among supporters or among groups is even worse. If you recall what happened in Rwanda, most of those who contributed to the genocide did not actually use their own hand to kill anyone. But by calling other people cockroaches, they need to be eliminated and things like that, then they be responsible for the inciting the killing of thousands. So what I can say is to call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be a responsible head of state, to be a responsible party leader, and to make sure that all across Nigeria that he sent a signal to his supporters that all is not fair in politics and all is not fair even in war. If you look at the Geneva Convention, it is to put a stop to the saying that all is fair in war. Even in warfare, there's a limit, not talk of politics. So I think that the Fadahunsis of this world and so many other violent operators of the APC and other political parties, particularly the APC, they are trying to impress the president, who says go and win it by all means. And when you say, there was a previous president in Nigeria who once said, we will win, do or die. And there was a wild condemnation at that time that as a head of state, you could not use the word, the phrase or expression, do or die. So in this situation, President Tinubu, even his encounter with the Catholic bishops, was giving the impression that I'm ready to do anything. And that is what is radiating or percolating. And I, as a president of Nigeria, I will never promote violence. I will be the first to condemn it. And I will expel anyone from my party or support group who has any hint of violence. So I expect the APC to expel Fadahunsi and any of these people. If they don't, they are collectively responsible. As for the police, they don't need to tell us what they are doing. We just need to see the man in court. That is how you know that you are actually taking action. And in Osun State in particular, more than 40 people have lost their lives. The body count keeps going up from all parts of the state, and that is not a joke. So it's not in that kind of context that you could say, well, I am trying to study use of language or poetry. There's no metaphor that can explain that in a setting that's already tense, people are losing their lives. And in that particular area, Ijesha, Ife, all the area, if you recall, that was the beginning of the violence in the First Republic. And also, that is where Bola Ahmed started having the situation that led to his assassination. Because it was at Ife, in that Oshun East, and somebody came and removed his cap at a political rally. And we were showing violence to him, and that was the beginning of the end. So we need to be careful, and the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, needs to be responsible. He needs to be a serious adult in the room and talk to his people that thuggery, bad language, violence will not be tolerated, especially as we are heading toward 2027, because there is no way we will be intimidated by the president posting all his talks and political talks or thuggish leaders anywhere. We will have to have a free, fair, and credible election, and nobody can intimidate anybody. And violence begat violence, because when you say go and kill so and so people, what if they too decide to defend themselves and say they will kill you? That is how election becomes warfare. There's no point going around signing peace accord like they did in Oshun, or peace accord like we did in our time, and you follow the peace accord with non-peaceful language, non-peaceful method, or fair system, rigging, vote buying, and all kinds of intimidation. We will not allow that.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adewole. So, a number of times it's been said that the Osun State election would be a litmus test for the 2027 elections. How INEC will conduct the elections, preparation of INEC itself, and then the security agencies and also agencies like EFCC with regards to how they contain vote buying or are able to arrest anyone who's found to be doing that. How confident are you on the elections of 2027, at least now from where you see the Osun State elections? What's the SDP's position on this, and what lessons can we learn ahead of the elections in 2027?
The lesson we can learn is that 2027 should not be like Osun elections. Because if it is, we are starting on the wrong foot. Already in Osun, violence has occurred. Already in Osun, all kinds of unfairness has occurred. There has been a politicization of the law enforcement. You will be hearing police commissioner being posted back, police commissioner standing aside, resigning. That is not how it should be. For the point of view of the SDP, we just got our governorship candidates recognized only yesterday. And debates have taken place, campaigns have taken place, everything that needs to be done has been done. This morning, Dr. Francis Fadahunsi, our candidate, was getting in touch with me that INEC is not even ready to accept the agents of the party. So once I leave the studio now, I will call him back to know how far he's gone with that. So my prayer is that the lesson we learn from Oshun election in 2027 is that the 2027 should not be like the Oshun election. It should be an improvement on it. And it can sound fatalistic that the election hasn't taken place. Today is Thursday, election is in 2 days' time, and I'm already saying that we should not be like that. It's because election goes beyond what happens on election day. Election starts from the atmosphere prior to the election. So I believe that by October 1, when we're having the wonderful memory of our independence, INEC should already have set the tone for the 2027 election. The police should already have set the tone, and all other agencies that are relevant to the election for 2027 should already have set the tone and started to enforce the new rules, the new environment. That is where you can now hope for a reasonable election in 2027. We must start now, not wait until the last minute.
So I want to quote two presidents we've had, and I want you to analyze their statements. One president said, "My ambition is not worth the blood of Nigerians." Another president says, "All is fair in politics." Please help us analyze those two statements and the impact of the word of our leaders.
You know, leadership is self about inspiration. Most countries rise and fall by the verbiage of their leadership. You will see that most of the Third Reich was about how Hitler will go and talk about the German race, superiority to other races, and how they will conquer the world. And that's what led to the rise of the Nazis and the Third Reich. Leaders are meant to lead by precepts and what they say. So the quotation you referenced earlier was by Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, our former president, who said his ambition was not worth the life of any Nigerian. He lived up to it. He did make sure that there was no much violence in his election, and that when he lost, he gave up and did not allow his personal ambition to become an albatross or a killing field. The other one, I think, is credited to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose philosophy is to grab it, snatch it, and run away with it. So these are two contrasting philosophies of leadership. So I think that President Tinubu's own approach to politics, electioneering, and it's a bit too violent, too drastic, and too desperate. And as a leader, it's one of the things I will ensure that my language and what I communicate to my followers and to the rest of the country, because we are all followers of the president, once you are the president of the country, is that we should be a civilized society. Elections should not be do or die, and that politics should be done by fair and reasonable and lawful means. In addition to the verbiage, also, I will go further to put in place measures that will ensure that INEC is independent of the government. I will put in place measures that will ensure that law enforcement is outside the control of the government. I will not do what President Tinubu has done publicly, which many leaders in the past have done privately, which is to remote control police, remote control EFCC, to say, no, go and freeze that account, go and freeze that account, go and charge so and so person to court, don't charge the other person to court. And I will have an independent Attorney General who will be able to tell me to my face that no, I won't do this. In my own case, I will make sure that the INEC chairman and the INEC board or commissioners are not chosen by me. I will follow the Waste Panel report, which was set up by Sheikh Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, President Yar'Adua, who wanted to make sure that no president of Nigeria should be able to direct the future of electioneering in Nigeria. If a president of Nigeria, including me, if I'm contesting, I'll be contesting like any other person in the election. No control over INEC, no appointment of INEC commissioners. All of those things should be done independently. And when we come in, police are not instrument of the law, will be completely outside our control. And the Attorney General will not continue to be the legal advisor to the government. There should be a State House Counsel whose job it is to advise the presidency. The Attorney General should be the lawyer for the entire country, independent of the government. So when we do all of these things, and we change our language, and we change the means by which we free the civil society and make the country to be a civilized one, that is when the best of us can come out. I think that the philosophy that no ambition should consume the blood or sweat or anxiety of any Nigerian is one in which that should be brought to practical, institutional, and political reality in this our generation.
Welcome back, my people. What we just watched on Arise News should send a cold chill down the spine of every well-meaning Nigerian. Let us break down what Prince Adewole Adebayo, the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, laid bare before Dr. Reuben Abati, Ayo Mario Ese, and Rufai Oseni. The core trigger of this entire debate is the viral video showing Senator Francis Fadahunsi addressing a crowd of political supporters and openly instructing them to attack and kill members of their court party. When confronted with this public incitement, the defense offered was that kill was merely a figurative political language. But as Dr. Abati and Adewole Adebayo rightly pointed out, language has deadly consequences. Adebayo cited George Orwell's famous essay, Politics and the English Language, reminding us that when politicians manipulate words to sanitize violence, murder becomes normalized. He went further to draw a chilling parallel to the 1994 Rwandan genocide, where state-sponsored radio broadcasts dehumanized opponents as cockroaches, until ordinary neighbors took up machetes against each other. Ayo Mario Ese and Rufai Oseni broadened the interrogation to the deeper institutional cancer sabotaging our democracy. Rufai brought up the stark philosophical contrast in Nigerian leadership. On one side, former President Goodluck Jonathan famously declared that my ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. On the other side, we have the toxic doctrine of grab it, snatch it, and run with it, turning elections into literal war zones. Adebayo also blew the whistle on structural complicity of the independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the security forces. He revealed how opposition parties like the SDP are deliberately sabotaged through technical bottlenecks, including denying accreditation to party agents on the eve of the Osun State governorship election. While police commissioners are reshuffled like chess pieces to favor the ruling establishment, this brings us straight into the heart of the matter. Because what is happening in our political space is no longer just dirty politics. It is an existential assault on human life and democratic governance. My fellow Nigerians, it breaks my heart to the core that in the 21st century, a man who bears the title Distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic can stand in front of citizens who look up to him for leadership and command them to spill human blood. How did we get here? What kind of depravity has hijacked Nigerian politics that a lawmaker elected to protect life and enact law for peace and good governance has transformed into a commander of political terror? Our ancestors gave us a profound parable. When the village elder of a village begins to sell stones as bread, the children will soon begin to throw rocks at their own mothers. What moral authority does a senator have to stand in the red chamber of the National Assembly and deliberate on national security when his own tongue is dripping with incitement to murder? As our people dey talk am, if breeze blow, fowl nyash go open. The wind of desperation has blown, and the true character of these political gladiators is exposed for everyone to see. It is completely sickening to see how far politicians in this country are willing to go just to stay in power and remain in the good books of the presidency. For them, politics is not about service, it is not about infrastructure, it is not about the economy, and it is certainly not about the lives of ordinary citizens. To them, election is a do-or-die enterprise where the ballot box is treated as a weapon of conquest rather than instrument of civic choice. Look at the hypocrisy of claiming that telling supporters to kill is a mere metaphor. When you put a microphone in your hand, stand before angry, unemployed, and vulnerable youths and scream that they should wipe out their political rivals, you are not speaking poetry. You are issuing an executive death warrant in a country already suffocating under severe economic hardship, hunger, and deep ethnic tensions. Pouring the petrol of violent rhetorics into dry grass is an invitation to national anarchy. Now, dog wey wan lose, they refuse to hear the hunter whistle. Let me ask a simple question. Whose children are being commanded to go and kill? Has any senator ever sent his own son or daughter to carry cutlasses, guns, and charms to the polling booths? Their children are safely tucked away in prestigious universities abroad, living in luxury in London, Dubai, and Washington, while the sons and daughters of poor, struggling Nigerians are handed 5,000 naira and instructed to kill one another for politicians' victory party. Wetin poor man do na to deserve this kind wickedness? This is why I find it impossible to believe that someone who makes such hate-filled statements was genuinely, freely voted for by the people. When a leader genuinely derives his mandate from the sovereign will of the electorate, he reverses the people. He protects their safety and he bows to their voice. But when politicians rig their way into office through ballot snatching, violence, and institutional compromise, they look upon the electorate not as employers but as conquered subjects to be bullied and terrorized. I call upon President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to rise to the constitutional responsibility of his office and act without hesitation. Leadership is not about party solidarity. It is about national preservation. If the president remains silent while members of his political family openly preach violence and threaten human life, that silence becomes an endorsement. You cannot claim to champion national unity while harboring merchants of political violence under your umbrella. An ancient proverb tells us, he who watches a fire burn his neighbor's rooftop and looks away will wake up to find his own barn in ashes. The president must make it abundantly clear that no member of any party, no matter how highly placed, is above the law. The Inspector General of Police must immediately arrest, thoroughly investigate, and prosecute anyone captured on tape inciting violence. We do not want to hear about closed-door meetings, tea parties at the police headquarters, or convenient cover-ups designed to shield the political ally. If an ordinary citizen on the street makes a terroristic threat, they are remanded in prison within 24 hours. Why should the sitting senator be treated with velvet gloves when he commits the exact crime on camera? Furthermore, look at the systematic sabotage taking place within INEC. When an electoral umpire makes it impossible for opposition parties to upload and accredit their polling agents, they are actively rigging the elections before the first ballot is cast. When police commissioners are redeployed based on political favoritism to intimidate opponents, the state ceases to be neutral and becomes a partisan combatant. We cannot continue to run a democratic system where the referee wears the jersey of one of the teams on the pitch. we must return to the foundational recommendation of the Justice Mohammed Owai's Electoral Reform Panel. The appointment of the INEC chairman and national commissioners must be completely detached from the executive branch and placed in the hands of an independent judicial body. The police and the security agencies must be constitutionally insulated from presidential and partisan control. Until we strip the political executive of the power to manipulate the tools of election, our democracy will remain an auction house for the highest bidder and a battleground for the most violent. To the ordinary citizens of Nigeria, I say this with every fiber of my being: open your eyes and refuse to be used as cannon fodder. When a politician tells you to fight his opponent, ask him to bring his son, make him bring his own pikin to lead the charge. Make him pikin himself follow come lead the charge. Refuse to spill blood for men whose only loyalty is to their own pockets and their selfish political ambitions. Nigeria belongs to all of us, and no individual's political ambition is worth the drop of a single Nigerian's blood. BuzzTv people, that is a raw truth. Politics must never be a license for bloodshed, and the laws of this land must apply equally to the powerful and the powerless. Now, I want to hear from you. What should the federal government and the Inspector General of Police do regarding politicians caught inciting violence on tape? Do you believe our electoral system can ever be truly free and fair without full judicial independence for INEC? Drop your thoughts in the comment sections below. Let's have a robust, respectful debate. If you believe in justice, the rule of law and truth in journalism, hit that like button. Please, please, and please subscribe to BuzzTV and click the notification bell so you never miss another hard-hitting episode. Stay vigilant, stay peaceful, and God bless Nigeria. See you in the next video.